Hi, Warren Whitlock of Bestseller Authors and the TwitterHandbook.com here with Tim Ferris. Hi, Tim.
Hi there.
Hey, Tim. I know you. I know you're on Twitter, and people say, "Hey, that guy doesn't really use Twitter right." Tell me about your opinion and how you use it, and how you suggest somebody without as much fame as you use it.
Certainly. So Twitter to me, I used to be a huge critic of Twitter because the only use that I saw was I just had a burrito, I have terrible gas, or oh my God, just met this crazy guy. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's one use, and I couldn't identify with that. What I ended up using Twitter for, and I was actually a fairly, late adopter compared to most of the people in the blog world because I had reservations about it, is as a micro blogging platform. So most of my blog posts tend to be articles, in essence. And if there's something very timely, I'm going to be here today, I'm in London for 10 hours, or I need to do this, and I want to offer readers the chance to interact with me, or if I want to meet readers, then Twitter's the perfect outlet. If I have a quick question that isn't worth a separate blog post, I want to be respectful of people's RSS readers. I don't want to clog that or their inbox with just a simple question that will only apply to some of them. So I'll use Twitter for that. The most controversial approach, I suppose, I take on Twitter, which many people criticize me for, although a lot of people also recognize is somewhat strategic and necessary, is I don't follow anyone. And the reason for that is that the people I follow in the real world. I actually spend a lot of time breaking bread and having meals with my friends, and I make a point to put that in a very high priority slot in my life. So does that mean that I don't give back? No, of course I give back. I mean, look at my blog. I mean, I spend as much time on a good blog post as I'll spend on an article for The Economist, and that's a real example. And I'm proud and happy to do that, and I feel honored that people will read it. But Twitter for me has a very specific use, and that's as micro-blogging to keep people updated or ask some quick questions on things that I don't want to crowd people's inboxes or RSS readers with otherwise. And so far, it's worked well for me. I mean, the numbers continue to grow. I know I alienate some people by not following anyone, but just like there's no one way to use a blog, there's no one way to use Twitter. There are people who use it for political activism. There are people who use it to publish newspapers. I use it for microblogging. Other people use it to keep connected to 30, 100, 2,000 friends at a time. I don't think it's possible to maintain 2,000 friendships, so I opt to use it in the way I described it. And so far, so good. I'm a big fan.
Do you? So what you said is when you're someplace, you post that you're going to be there or interact with people. So you're actually reading the replies that come to you on Twitter.
I am. I don't. So here's the issue. I don't reply to many of those replies, although I will direct message people on occasion. The reason that I don't follow people, some people say, oh, well, you can just follow 20 people. No, you can't, because then it would be analogous to sending an email inviting 50 of your friends to your wedding, but you email it to 10,000 people who are your acquaintances. It insults everyone who isn't invited. So I don't want to create that type of drama in my life, and I don't want people to get hurt feelings, so I don't follow anyone. I don't follow Robert Scoble. I don't follow any of my closest friends because I meet them in real life. Similarly, if I start responding to people on Twitter, it will become another inbox, and that's the last thing I need. I want to set expectations, and the expectation is Tim's not going to reply to messages, but once in a while he'll be sitting there in a bar and he's happy to spend an hour hanging out with you shooting the shit, which is true. But I have 600 unread messages on LinkedIn. I have more than that on Facebook. I can't have another inbox. Physically incapable of answering them.
Great. So if somebody does use an @ to address you, there's a good chance that you're going to see all of them.
There's a very good chance I'll see it. The best way to contact me is to go to my contact page of my blog and get in touch with Amy, who's my COO, basically, my primary assistant. That is by far, if you have something that you think is going to be relevant and that I would like to take a look at, that's the best way to do it. But I do look at Twitter. Every time I put up a new tweet, I check out my replies. I can't always reply to them. I very seldom do, but I might direct message in some cases.
Okay, so you're going to know even when the haters are there. Hi.
Yeah. And somebody said something to me recently because I took the criticism very personally in the beginning, and mostly for people who hadn't read the book. But some people look at me and say, "Oh, he's 31. What the hell does he know? He doesn't have kids, whatever." And that's why I've done case studies and interviews and stuff. But if you don't have some haters in the anonymous world that is the internet, you're probably not saying anything that's terribly interesting. That's just what I've had to come to realize.
Right.
And I remember I called up this blogger, I'm not going to mention her by name, really well-known blogger, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know why people are saying this and doing that, like it doesn't make any sense. And she goes, Tim, I get like one death threat and one sexual offer per week. And I write about, I'm not going to mention what she writes about, but it's like the most innocuous stuff you can imagine. She's like, so, like, grow some balls and just take it, because that's the price you pay for being online. And I was like, oh, okay.
Great.
So,
By the
anyway.
way, first two words in the Twitter revolution book: no rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Use it how it works for you, and you obviously are.
I mean, people like to be online and talk about new social media and how they're setting the rules and innovating, and then they acquire this dogma so quickly about how you can or can't use Twitter. Come on, guys. There are no rules. Exactly. Just play with it and have fun with it, and make sure that what you do is at least either profitable or enjoyable.